Welcome to Mind Love, episode 19. Today's episode is all about money mindset and manifesting.
Your current reality isn't permanent, and a lot of people don't take the time to define who they want to become, what specifically do they want to manifest, how they want to feel, and so they never get it.
Turn up your frequency with Mind Love. Bite-sized brain hacks for seekers, dreamers, and doers. It's time to give your mind a little love with your host, Melissa Monti.
Hello, friends. I hope your week is going as great as mine is. First of all, I moved to a new place, which I totally feel like I manifested. I have no idea how I got a brighter, sunnier spot in an even better location for less than I was paying before. But also, as I launched the Morning Mind Love just a few weeks ago, I've been sending personal videos to every single person who signs up, which has really been a blast. But it's also allowed me to connect in a deeper way with all of you. In a lot of the videos, I asked listeners what they wanted to hear on the show. And the most common response I received from all of you was developing your money mindset and learning how to manifest the life of your dreams. I knew exactly who I wanted to cover that topic, and I was thrilled when she said yes. This person originally got my attention through a Facebook group called Manifestation Babes, which currently has 45,000 people attesting to her techniques. Her name is Kathrin Zenkina, and she's a spiritual mindset coach, manifesting expert, and creator of the exploding personal development brand Manifestation Babe. After committing to completely transforming her money mindset, in early 2016, she went from being $25,000 in credit card debt, barely paying her bills, to being financially free and creating a thriving six-figure coaching business of her dreams. She turned her entire life around in a single year, and now she's committed to helping other people drop their financial struggles too. But before I bring her on, I want to invite all of you to sign up for the Morning Mind Love, where you get short daily reminders of your own beauty, worth, and power to start each day with a positive mindset and keep your vibes up between episodes. And like I said, I'm sending every new subscriber a personalized video to thank you for signing up. All you have to do is visit mindlove.com and sign up right there on the homepage. Plus, you'll get some amazing free gifts when you do. First, you get our exclusive Powerless Method, which is an awesome free booklet based on proven principles from the most successful people and from some of our favorite guests. Plus, you'll get a free guided affirmation meditation set at the miracle tone of the solfeggio scale, a specific tone said to attract love, health, and abundance. Set along with these affirmations to rewire those neural pathways can be super powerful. And listeners have been absolutely loving the Morning Mind Love, by the way, so be sure to head to mindlove.com to sign up. Or if you're out and about, just text the word morning to 444-999. That's morning to 444-999. But now it's time to talk about money. So let's welcome Kathrin Zenkina to the show.
Thank you so much, Melissa. I'm super excited to be here.
I want to start out with your story and your history with the law of attraction. How did you first develop your money mindset?
When I was 5 to 6, 7 years old, my mom would take me to Barnes & Noble all the time. And she was always trying to inspire me to read books. So she would take me to the children's section of Barnes & Noble. And for some reason, I would pick up a book from there and then carry it over to the self-help section. And no matter what, I would always sit in the self-help section, not even knowing what the books in there were about. But for some reason, I was always drawn to that section. And then it wasn't until I was about 16 years old when I was in high school and I discovered a book called The Secret. You know, it was a big film and the book just came out and it was a huge deal and obviously gathered a ton of success. And my high school friend in, I think it was 11th grade. So yeah, I was 16. And she was like, Kathrin, this is how my grandpa has money work for him and he doesn't work for money. I didn't even know what that meant at that time, but I was absolutely hooked. And that's kind of where my manifestation journey really began, where I would kind of hide in my spiritual closet at home when I was not in high school, not doing homework, not hanging out with friends. I would always be reading books all about law of attraction, manifestation. That's really where my obsession kind of resided. At the same time, I was also pursuing a medical degree and was so gung-ho about becoming a surgeon. Then one day, while I was in my junior year of college, I realized that there was a lot of resistance that was coming up in school for me. And I stopped being inspired by my biology classes, my chemistry classes, my physics classes. I just felt like it wasn't for me anymore. For that entire year, all of a sudden, the bus that I was taking to school kept being late. Or I would arrive late to an exam and then miss an exam. Like, no matter how hard I tried to make it to school, things just wouldn't work out. They just wouldn't align. And whenever I was not doing my homework or not doing my studies, I'd be reading books and I'd be talking to people and I would be posting inspirational content online. And I just became so fascinated with this world of empowerment and coaching. And it was around the time, early 2016, when I noticed a ton of other female coaches who were essentially teaching what I was teaching since I was 16 years old to anyone who would listen to me. And it was in that moment in early 2016 when I realized that I don't want to be a doctor anymore, and I actually wanted to become a coach. I wanted to help people, inspire people, share the power of the mind with them, help them manifest their desires. I wanted to dive deeper into the subject and actually begin to apply it to money, because I was a recent college grad at that time, and I realized, oh my God, what if I could build a business while learning how to master these principles to money at the same time and make a world a better place? And that was pretty much the birth of Manifestation Babe.
Was Manifestation Babe the first business you attempted to start, or did you try anything else before that?
I was actually building another business at the time that was more fitness focused while I was in college, and then about a year after I graduated. But I also realized that that wasn't my passion, because I wasn't inspired by women messaging me online, Kathrin, how do you get a six-pack? How do you get a six-pack? How do I lose weight? What do I eat? What do I not eat? I was more fascinated with, okay, what are the beliefs behind your fitness journey? Now let's work on what it is that you want to achieve. What are your I ams? Do you have affirmations for yourself? Do you have a vision board? I started teaching them the law of attraction and manifestation, and also teaching my team. And then one day it just clicked for me. Oh my God, I don't have to do this fitness piece. I can just do the coaching piece. I can just do the mindset piece. And that's pretty much where Manifestation Babe took off from that point.
I want money.
This reminds me of my story before starting this podcast. I had started a travel blog because who doesn't want to get paid to travel around the world? But it took actually getting into it to realize I didn't feel energized when I talked about travel. But talking about mindset and helping people realize their own power, that gave me energy. And I love hearing stories about people who discovered all of this when they were younger. I often think about how cool it would have been to fully grasp my own power during childhood and really lay that kind of groundwork while my brain is still developing. I feel like it would just squash limiting beliefs at the root.
Yeah, it's never too late, first and foremost. And I believe that we all come across this stuff at the right time, because it was divine intervention for me. There was a lot of beliefs that I had to undo from my childhood. My family came to the United States when I was 1 year old, and we immigrated to Los Angeles, and we lived below the poverty line for most of my childhood. And a lot of the beliefs that we have about our lives and about things like money and things like relationships and love and ourselves and our worthiness, we pick up from other people. We learn all of these beliefs. We don't come out of the womb already programmed a certain way. Between the ages of 0 to 7, we're a walking subconscious mind, and we're essentially extensions of the belief systems of the people around us. And so my belief system was programmed. You have to work extremely, extremely hard in order to be successful because my parents worked extremely hard in order to find jobs. My mom put herself through nursing school in order to build a life for ourselves in the United States. And so it was seriously the stuff I didn't learn in my childhood. It didn't just come to me. It was divine intervention for my friend, which is funny because I actually stopped talking to her. We kind of grew apart about a few months after she handed me the book, but it was just kind of like the universe found its vehicle to deliver this information to me so that I can master it and then teach it to others. And I completely agree with you. And I believe that we should teach our kids this stuff as early as possible because there's so much work to be done. There's so much inner work to be done in undoing the programming and then reprogramming. It's like, why not just have the shortcut and then teach it to our children?
My husband and I met a man named Greg at the very beginning of our relationship. Greg is one of the most successful people I've ever met. He's always starting new projects, and each project seems to be wildly successful. Well, he gave us the book, The Power, by Rhonda Byrne, which is the sequel to The Secret, and he told us, "This is why I have everything that I have." It's one thing to hear that from somebody struggling to make ends meet, although no judgment there because we are all at different parts of our own journeys. But to hear it from somebody who's already mastered the concepts and the results are staring me in the face, that's pretty hard to ignore. But what impresses me the most is his entire family. He has 3 daughters in their 20s, and he raised them all with the power of positive thinking, believing wholeheartedly in the law of attraction. And not only are these women some of the kindest and most loving people I know, it seems that everything they touch turns to gold. You know that saying that you are the sum of the 5 people closest to you? For them, that was their family. These types of empowering beliefs were all they knew to be true since the day they started developing an understanding of this world. But it is true. It's never too late to get started. For me, meeting my husband Shane was a huge catalyst in my growth. Suddenly I had somebody around to pick me up when I'm down and to remind me of my own power when I'm at my low points. And then my growth exponentially took off. Before Shane, I think I looked at relationships as kind of a dead weight. Whenever I started to make real progress in my personal development, the relationship seemed to bring me down. But wow, what a difference when you find somebody that's on the same path. Kathrin, what has your experience been with relationships?
When I really went gung-ho into this journey in early 2016, I just recently broke up with my ex-boyfriend of 6 or 7 years, and that was really tough. And it had nothing to do with, oh, he wasn't spiritually aligned with me, or oh, his mindset was off. I just felt like I wasn't satisfied and fulfilled in the relationship, and I was only 22 at the time. And I remember telling myself, like, I have my whole life ahead of me to explore, and if we're meant to be, I have faith that we'll come back together. But I really wanted to take some time to be single and, explore more of my desires and what it is that I wanted and just focus on myself. And it was literally 7 days after I let go of that relationship that I manifested Brennan, who's my fiance, into my life. And it's so funny because when Brennan came into my life, he had the worst money mindset in the world. He thought I was an absolute crazy person when I would start talking about the law of attraction. I was afraid of him coming into my bedroom because my bedroom at the time was filled with vision boards and goal boards and affirmations and all this stuff to inspire me and to keep me focused and all the stuff that I was focusing on. I remember having excerpts out of books and quotes and all these things about the power of the mind to keep my subconscious mind focused. And I remember being so scared of allowing him into my bedroom because I was like, oh my God, he's literally going to think I'm crazy. He was so logical and so just very analytical. He was in the finance field, and also, while helping other people manage their money, he himself was a horrible money manager and just had the worst money mindset. And I remember thinking to myself, how in the hell did I attract Brennan into my life? This doesn't make any sense. I am working so hard on my money mindset and I've improved so much. I want an energetic match to who I am. And I remember while I was in the other relationship, I wrote down a list of what I wanted in a mate. My ideal mate list, as Tony Robbins calls it. And it was funny because I was resistant at the time to creating this list because I was already in a relationship and I thought that we would get married. And I was thinking to myself, why would I create this list? And Tony Robbins, I was doing one of his audio programs, and he's like, even if you're in a relationship, just get clear on what you want. Just explore what you want. There's no harm in exploring what you want, because then you can find, where are there some differences, where are there some similarities, where are you on track, where are you off track, and just work with that list. Make it like a relationship improvement list. So I created this list of my ideal mate and kind of hid it in a journal because some of the stuff did not match up to my ex-boyfriend. And when I finally manifested Brennan into my life, when he came into my life, I realized that I literally created everything that I wanted in a man, to what he does for a living, to what he's like, to how tall he is and what he looks like, and just his appearance and personality and how he's so loving and caring and all this stuff. And it's funny because in the beginning of a relationship, I was like very frustrated with him, and I was just like, oh my God, he's so far behind me in this personal development world. And it was actually by me being the example, I ended up inspiring him. And today he has one of the most supreme money mindsets. He loves this stuff. He teaches others about law of attraction. He talks about it all the time. He's super proud of what he does. We're now business partners. But I realized that sometimes together as couples, you have to give some time for either you or him to kind of catch up to the other. And I believe that there's a law called the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, how high vibration energy will always uplift negative energy. And so I remind people to be more patient when they're in relationships and to keep your side of the street clean, as Gabby Bernstein calls it. So keep focusing on you, keep focusing on your intentions, keep visualizing the life that you want, keep doing your affirmations. And as things pick up for you and they start to notice, like, oh my God, you just manifested that money. You said that you wanted this and now it's here. Oh my God, how did you do that? All of a sudden they get super curious. And I was able to inspire Brennan to kind of get into this law of attraction stuff, manifestation stuff, just by doing my own thing and focusing on me and always loving him and meeting him where he's at. I think that in relationships, couples both need to be open to it and open to growth. If one of you isn't quite open to growth or isn't willing to be flexible, isn't willing to expand and become a better person, become a better version of yourself, then I feel like there's going to be a lot of mishap and miscommunication. But I think that if both parties in the relationship are very open, then it's going to evolve into a beautiful union that fulfills both of the parties' needs.
That willingness to grow is the key factor. Not only should people look for a partner with a willingness to grow, but also even the people that they surround themselves with, for friends, employees of a company, or if you are an employee, the CEO of a company. The reason is when people aren't willing to grow, a lot of the times that comes from the belief that they can't. When people have such strong limiting beliefs, they often unintentionally impose their reality on the people around them. Not because they want to bring people down, but because they believe this is the reality that we live in. And it's really hard not to be affected by that. Kathrin, you said you grew up with a poverty mindset. What types of limiting beliefs did you have to overcome to get where you are now?
Yes, definitely worth around money, feeling like, I don't deserve it or it's not for me, because while I was growing up, my best friend was also an immigrant to the United States, and her family came around the same time as my family. However, as we got a little bit older, her dad went back to Europe because he was unable to pass the exam to become a licensed physician in the United States. So he actually went back to Europe and pursued the same plastic surgery career that he left when he came to the United States, and started to make a ton of money and started to send a ton of money to my best friend. And my best friend was a lot wealthier than I was. And I remember just feeling like, what is the separation between me and her? How come she has all this stuff and I don't? And feeling a lot of frustration and resentment towards her was something that I had to work through and understand that we're all worthy of money. We're all deserving of money. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here on this planet where there's free will and all these beautiful universal laws that are always working for us, and this mind that also is wired to bring us our desires. As soon as we become aware even of the power and just understand how to command our subconscious minds to bring our desires to us, and of course install empowering beliefs and eliminate limiting beliefs. But anyway, I had to work through a lot around that because of my relationship with her, as well as working super hard and feeling like I need to hustle to bring the kind of money that I wanted into my life. I felt like the people who have all the money in the world are the hardest workers, and they're always working and they don't have time for family or for fun or for anything, until I realized actually it's the opposite. And if hard work was tied to money, the construction workers and the waitresses and waiters and people in customer service, they would be the wealthiest people, because I swear those are some of the hardest and toughest jobs. But for some reason, those people tend to be paid a far less than the really wealthy people in our world. And so making those connections and realizing like, oh my God, that's not necessarily truth, opened up so much for me. Also, the belief that I can manifest anything but money was a huge struggle for me, because I just put money on this pedestal and I made money this thing, and I kept forgetting that money is just energy and it follows the same exact rules as anything else that you manifest into your life. It's just a matter of seeing it as an equal to everything else in your life, rather than putting it on a pedestal and making it this thing that is hard to master, hard to bring into your life, or hard to manifest. So I would say those are about the three of my beliefs that I had to work really hard to overcome.
And hold that thought. The Mind Love podcast is supported by Castbox, the fastest growing, highest rated podcast app on iOS and Android. Castbox has over 50 million free episodes that more than 13 million users download and listen to wherever, whenever. Castbox has also pioneered a brand new way to search. All you have to do is enter a keyword or phrase, and Castbox will search all show titles and transcripts of every single episode to deliver exactly what you're looking for. So head over to your app store, download Castbox, and try it for yourself today. Okay, what's the first thing that you manifested that shocked you, where you thought, wow, I am surprised that that worked?
It's funny because I want to take you back to the very first thing I manifested. Right when I discovered The Secret, I was in my bedroom. I think I was like studying. I just finished reading The Secret, but I read it in between like reading my textbooks because I was in high school at the time. And my mom is typical Russian Soviet woman who's all about good grades and all about getting into a good school. And so I was always pushed to study harder, study harder, study harder. And so I was studying, and I remember I just finished taking an exam like the day before, because this was a Saturday night. And I just knew that my grade on that exam was not up to par because I didn't study, or I remember, being stumped on a couple questions. So I was like, oh crap, I feel like I got a C. My mom's going to kill me. She's going to ground me. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And then immediately this thought comes into my mind, wait a second, I just learned, I just read The Secret. Let me manifest a good grade. Like if this stuff actually works, let me manifest an A on my test. And I remember, of course, being like, okay, decide what you want and then visualize it. So immediately I decided what I want, an A. And then I started visualizing. And what I visualized was I was in a smaller town school. I grew up in Los Angeles, but I lived in Gig Harbor, Washington at the time. And the school was way, way, way smaller. The town was way smaller than LA. So for me, it's like a small town. It's a small classroom. And so the teacher, bless her heart, she was one of those teachers who would call the parents whenever you get a good grade on the test, and literally call your parents and tell them, you got an A, and celebrate with the parents and whatever. And so I remember visualizing my mom's phone going off and, hearing her voice and her coming down the stairs, because I was in the downstairs bedroom at the time, of my mom telling me like, oh my God, you got a good grade, you got an A on the test, congratulations. And so I visualized this whole scenario, and I remember telling myself, okay, have certainty, have expectations. You have to expect it. I started seeing a 98% on this test, and I just got super excited about it. It made me feel good. And then I just kind of forgot about it because I was, when you're naive and you're new to learning how to manifest with intention, it's so much easier for you to surrender and to let go of things than when you are already more knowledgeable about it and then you start getting into your head around it, which we always do. But I immediately surrendered it. I forgot about it. I went back to studying or doing something else, and literally just as I visualized, the same exact scenario happened 20 minutes later. And I remember my mom coming down, sharing with me that I got an A on my test. And when I went back to school, I actually did get a 98 on the test. How? I have no idea, but the how doesn't matter, obviously. And so it blew my mind. It was so incredible. I was just stunned, and I was like, oh my God, what else can I manifest? And I think that's what drove the obsession, because when I teach manifestation, I tell people to start with the smallest thing. Start with something really small where it's like, if it happens, it's not going to be so revolutionary and life-changing, but at the same time, it's going to show you that, yes, it works. It's going to be such a coincidence that you're almost going to be like, oh my God, it actually worked. What else can I do? And you start to get excited and you start to feel really good about the process. And all of a sudden, it doesn't become this big thing like, oh, I want to manifest $1 million and I've never even seen $1,000 in my bank account in my life. No, you're not going to be able to manifest $1 million because it's not that it's not possible. It's just way, 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 way too big for you to conceptualize and to believe that it's actually possible. And so that was like my first thing that I manifested, and it just blew my mind. And I think that's where my journey really took off, because then I was able to build my manifesting muscle and go slightly bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and so on. And ever since that point, I've always known that I am the person who's in charge of my reality. I am the creator of my reality. And even though I've had a lot of ups and downs since then, it's been like this consistent thought in the back of my mind. So I always went back to it, and I always went back to the basics, and I never gave up on continually creating the life of my wildest dreams.
That's such a cool story. A lot of people tend to pass off situations like this as coincidence. But when you do that, you do yourself a disservice. For example, I started to read your book in the beginning of December. I was on day 6, and suddenly my cryptocurrency portfolio started to surge. So on one hand, so did everybody else's cryptocurrency portfolios. But on the other hand, the how doesn't matter, and the gratitude is one of the most important parts. If you do a friend a favor and she seems apathetic about it, you'll eventually stop doing favors for her. So think of the universe like a close friend. If the universe does you a favor and delivers exactly what you want and need at the time, show some damn gratitude and she'll probably do it again for you. If that doesn't resonate with you, another way to look at this is like a gratitude journal. So the reason that gratitude journals seem to be so effective is that once you start to acknowledge all of these things that you're grateful for, your brain starts to subconsciously seek out things to be grateful for. And then you're focusing on all these good things in your life. You feel more grateful, and you tend to have a more positive outlook. When it comes to manifesting and garnering everyday miracles, acknowledging these things, even the little ones, makes you feel more powerful. And when you approach your life with these feelings of power, great things are bound to happen.
Absolutely. And I 100% believe in the principle, what you track increases. And I teach that in the book as well. As you manifest money and as you manifest these things and as miracles happen in your life, even if it's something really, really small and tiny, just acknowledging it starts to build your manifesting muscle, and it starts to create this energy of expectation and excitement and gratitude. And that energy that you send out into the universe is always matched, and it always comes back to you, because the law of attraction is like attracts like. So the more you acknowledge all the beauty in your life and you're grateful for it, the universe is only going to send you more of it. It's kind of like this appreciation and like, oh, you're welcome. Here's more, here's more, here's more. And so the more that you acknowledge in your life, the bigger and bigger the miracles become.
A lot of times with self-development books, you have to then stop and really figure out how to apply it to your situation and to your life. One thing I love about your book is that it's basically a 21-day blueprint on exactly how to get your head straight in the money game. But I think it's hard not to be skeptical if you're new to manifesting. It's hard not to think it can't be this easy. So for those who are new to manifesting, what would you say is one of the first steps that also has the greatest impact on the lives of those who accomplish it?
I think one of the biggest and most life-changing principles in the book is forgiveness. I believe that forgiveness clears up space for love in our hearts. And I feel like so many of us are holding on to so many resentments towards moments in the past which turned into these stories, and we keep living these stories, and we take these moments, right? Like something happened or someone did something to you, someone said something to you, you got mad at someone. We take these moments and we make them so much bigger than they really are. And granted, there's a lot of trauma that might have happened. There's a lot of horrible things, but you have to understand that they're still moments. It might have been just one day in your life or a single moment in your life. And so what we end up doing is we end up snowballing these moments into these stories, and we start to identify ourselves with these stories, and we feel like we just hold on to so much shame and guilt and resentment and anger, and all of these things are blocking you from manifesting everything that it is that you want. Because the way that I see it, this is just a metaphor that I use for forgiveness. I see like my heart, and my heart is my, for instance, manifestation muscle. And if my heart is filled with all these resentments and all this anger and all this negative energy, then I am essentially a big ball of negative energy. And through law of attraction, like attracts like, I am going to be attracting more negative situations into my life just because my vibration is more on a negative frequency, just because I'm holding on to these things. And holding on to these things doesn't serve you, because it's like intending to poison someone but drinking the poison yourself. You're only hurting yourself. And a lot of people think that by forgiving someone or forgiving a situation or forgiving themselves in the past or these moments in the past, that they are basically making it okay. Like, oh, I'm making it that it's okay that they did that, or it's okay that I did that. And no, that's not necessarily it. What you're doing is you're freeing yourself from the pain, because you're the only one that's holding on to this pain. No one else is holding on to the pain. You are the one that's feeling it. And so you deserve so much better. You deserve to free yourself. And so by forgiving these people or situations or even yourself, you are creating space in your heart. There's the law of vacuum, which basically states that anytime you clear up space for a desire to come in, the universe can't help but put it there because of the law of vacuum. It kind of works like a vacuum to attract whatever it is that you desire. And so I see forgiveness as creating this vacuum of attracting all the positive things, in this case, money, more money, because money is just energy, and the energy of money is something that makes us feel good. It gives us freedom and liberation and happiness. And what are the feelings that you desire that money would bring to you? It's not necessarily the money, it's more about the feelings. And so you're creating space for more things that match those feelings to come into your life. And forgiveness just helps you feel lighter and freer, and you are just able to show up in your life as a different person when you don't have anything that's holding you down. You're not like dragging a ball and chain with you. You're not dragging like this chair attached to your leg. All of a sudden you can start running into the life of your dreams. So definitely forgiveness is huge.
So many people have so many negative feelings around money that the idea of starting this process is scary and overwhelming. For a lot of people, it feels easier to just ignore the situation altogether. What advice do you have for those people? And for the record, I have been and still can be one of those people.
Around the principle of what you track increases. 2 years ago, I was always putting my head in the sand around my finances, and I would avoid checking my bank account. I would avoid seeing exactly how much I'm in debt. I would avoid my current situation, and at the same time, by avoiding it, while avoiding it, I would be focusing on all the things that I want. Except here's the issue. If you look at it as a GPS system, when you have a GPS in front of you and you want to go somewhere, the GPS has to know where you're at currently. It has to know your current destination. And a lot of people don't know their current destinations, and they're afraid of acknowledging their current destinations because they're afraid that by acknowledging it or by focusing on it, they're going to expand it or make it bigger than it really is or whatever it is. However, you need to know where you're currently at, because you then know how much energy you should be focusing into your destination. You can then begin your journey to your destination. You can begin paying off the debt. You can begin attracting more money into your life, attracting more clients, attracting the business ideas. And as soon as you start tracking your numbers and tracking where you're at and tracking your transactions and tracking, any debts that you might have, or just tracking anything in your life, all of a sudden, first of all, that number increases. So ever since I started tracking just my bank account, like opening my bank account every single morning and just seeing what's in there and sending it love and gratitude, I kid you not, my bank account just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger ever since I started doing this. So I'm a big believer in what you track increases and just acknowledging what needs to be changed.
I think another thing I noticed is that the first step is always the scariest, as with most things in life. So if I know my financial situation is bad, it's difficult to want to acknowledge that. But after you take that step, the next step is to create a plan to tackle it. And once you have a plan, you go from feeling bad about your situation to empowered. And suddenly it's less scary and totally doable, even if it's going to take you a while.
Well, here's the thing. If your vibration is mostly around feeling bad about your current situation, then you're going to keep attracting more things into your life that keep creating more of a bad current situation. And so just acknowledging where you're at and understanding like your current reality isn't permanent. This is not permanent. It can be changed. And I feel like there's such an empowering energy behind that, to where all of a sudden we're like, you know what, I this is not how I want to live. This is not what I want to experience. This is not what I want. And I have this current situation so that I can get even clearer on what I do want, because the universe is always working with your desires and what it is that you want. And a lot of people don't take the time to define who they want to become, what it is that they want, what specifically do they want to manifest, how they want to feel. And so they never get it. And there's beauty in polarity, and there's beauty in not being 100% satisfied with where you are, because then you're given this chance to sit down in your journal and maybe just create a desires list or script your life as if you're already living your dream life, or ask yourself great questions like, who do I need to become in order to live my dream life? And what can I do today to embody that version of myself even more? And that's how this inner work unfolds. And that's how you create your own customized blueprint to how to manifest your desires.
One of the most important parts about this customized blueprint is giving money a purpose. Without a purpose for what you need and what you desire, your subconscious mind doesn't know what to acknowledge, what to focus on, and what to attract.
Absolutely. Yeah, giving money a purpose was a big game changer for me, because a lot of people aren't specific. They just say, I want more money so I have less stress. Okay, less stress. That's an interesting outcome. Is that really the outcome that you want? You want just less stress? Or do you want more money to be able to provide for your family, or go to Disneyland, or go on a vacation? Like, what is it that you want money for? A lot of people pull numbers out of nowhere. Like, I'll ask people, how much do you want to manifest? What is it that you want? And they'll be like, $10 million. Great, that's an awesome number. But what do you want $10 million for? What is the purpose for the $10 million? And a lot of people all of a sudden are like, oh my God, I wouldn't even know what to do with this money. I don't even know why I want it. I don't even know what I'd purchase with it. And so giving yourself a nice start of chunking it down. So finding a number that you can get into alignment with at this point in your life. You can always obviously evolve and grow into bigger numbers, but start somewhere and just create this plan of what you're going to do with the money. Because when you have a plan for what you're going to do with it, maybe it's a portion you're going to invest, a portion you're going to save, a portion for the down payment for the house. This is for this is for food, this is for groceries, this is for fun, whatever it is that you want. All of a sudden, the universe has directions. All of a sudden, it has more motivation to bring you these things. All of a sudden, your subconscious mind takes it in as, oh my God, this is important. This is what I need to bring her. Your subconscious mind is so freaking powerful. And I think that a lot of people underutilize it. Your subconscious mind is wired to bring your desires to you. It is like a loyal dog that you can give orders to, and it's going to follow every single order literally too. And it takes everything that you say as truth, which is why I tell people be careful what you speak manifests. And it takes everything that you write as truth as well. And obviously like your thoughts and beliefs, like it's going to take everything literally as truth. And so by writing down, what is this money for? All of a sudden your subconscious is like, oh, I see why you want this money. Okay, I'm on it.
Sometimes it's easy to look at the business of manifesting as too woo-woo and hard to believe, but there's a science behind it. To grasp this concept, first it's important to note how much we don't know. Jeff Lichtman, a professor of molecular and cellular biology at Harvard, makes an interesting analogy of the distance between what we know about the brain and what there is to know about it. If everything we need to know about the brain is a mile, how far have we walked in this mile? His answer is only 3 inches. One thing we know about the brain is called the reticular activating system. Think of this like the little elves working for you when you're off duty. So those things that you believe to be true, that you focus on to manifest, that you fully put your heart and soul into, your reticular activating system is going to do the work behind the scenes, even when you don't know anything is happening. Kind of how when you decide that all you want is a white Tesla, and suddenly you see white Teslas everywhere. Nope, Elon Musk did not multiply production of white Teslas, but they're now at the forefront of your brain, and your reticular activating system is highlighting them for you.
Absolutely. And so many people underutilize it, and so many people feel like they need to be in control of everything when it's like, no, you can just give it up to your RAS, a reticular activating system, and have it. It's going to bring you things in the path of least resistance, because that's another thing about the subconscious mind is that it wants to do things that are easiest. It wants to take a shortcut. It wants to do things in the shortest time. And a lot of people, they get so involved in understanding like, well, how is this going to happen? How is this going to happen? It happens this way. And all of a sudden they make their path so much more complex than it ever needs to be. And I also believe that the universe will never deliver to you what's not for your highest good. So sometimes when you get attached to one way that something can happen, if it's not for your highest good, then the universe kind of sits there like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help you. Like, you need to relax and let me come in and serve you. And things just happen so much faster when we get out of the way, when we forget about even the when. There's a lot of different opinions on this, but my opinion is that you should even surrender the when. And a lot of people like to add dates to their manifestation goals, and they like to give themselves goals and put clear-cut dates. I think that just adds a little bit too much pressure on ourselves. It makes us worry. As the date gets closer, we worry even more and more and more about the how until we drive ourselves crazy. So I always say, like, believe and trust in divine timing. And as soon as you have patience, infinite patience creates immediate results. The second that you are patient enough and you realize that, you know what, I actually don't need this thing to be happy. It'll be nice, but I don't need it to be happy. I don't need it to be satisfied. I don't need it to be fulfilled. As soon as you get into this place, okay, it'd be nice, but I don't have to have it. That's when the things manifest the fastest. And it's absolutely amazing. I realize how many times in my life I will set an intention and just forget about it, just put it out there, and obviously follow the inspired actions that come up. But besides that, I'm not sitting there and just worrying about it and focusing on it 24/7. And I just let the universe do its thing. And as soon as I forget about it, and as soon as I let go of it, that's when it manifests. And then it manifests, and I'm like, oh my God, I almost forgot about it. So it's just so interesting. People are not willing to be patient enough. And I think that that's the real issue right there.
One of my besties recently found an old vision board from years ago, And she realized that one of the goals on the vision board was to write for a specific publication. And when she found it, she realized not only had she already written for that publication, but she's exceeded it, and she is currently a regular writer for something even bigger. This just goes to show you that even when you don't think that anything's happening, your subconscious just might still be doing the work for you. But the first step is to get your head in the game with the right mindset. And thankfully, Kathrin's created a blueprint for just that. So, Kathrin, where can listeners find out more about you?
You guys can find me on manifestationbabe.com as well as on Instagram. My handle is @manifestationbabe. And then on Facebook, I highly encourage you to join the Facebook group, which is, if you type in Manifestation Babes, like plural babes, you'll find it. We have about 44,000 members in there. So if you see that group, that's the right one.
I hope this episode has been helpful for everyone. I, for one, am going to go back through the book because, unfortunately, I didn't grow up with these principles. So there was a lot of rewiring that I had to do. And I'm still working on. For all of the links mentioned in this episode, including Kathrin's website, the amazing Facebook group, and her book, head to our show notes at mindlove.com/019. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. And if you have a free moment, leave a review. But either one helps. It really does help the growth of this podcast and to entice more great guests like Kathrin. And lastly, as a reminder, please sign up for the Morning Mind Love. These short daily reminders of your power and the universe's magic can really help you start each day with a positive mindset. I got a really amazing email this week from a listener named Lydia who said, "Your daily encouraging emails are a godsend." So head to mindlove.com and sign up right there on the homepage or text MORNING to 444-999. Thanks for giving your mind a little love today, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning into Your Higher Frequency with Mind Love. Head to mindlove.com for a free gift to keep your vibes up until next week.